much. Thanks for one more opportunity to speak to you. Today we're going to discuss how infrastructure needs to be planned, executed, and integrated to get best result for economic results. All of you know, the last few years, a lot of emphasis has been given on infrastructure development by both central government as well as by the various state governments. And you can see the result. Our GDP has already crossed 4 trillion as of last month. And we are hoping to touch 7 trillion by 2030, when we should become the third largest economy in the world. We'll overtake Japan, we'll overtake Germany as far as GDP is concerned. But all this is possible only if infrastructure is also growing simultaneously or being planned simultaneously. So I'm going to spend time with you, a very short presentation, how infrastructure is being planned in the country with the help of digital technology. The focus is on digital technology and how it is being harnessed to get best results for our infrastructure by way of time, by way of cost, and by way of scale of integration. So with this, may I upload my presentation? GATI Shakti is the name of the digital portal, which is at the moment fast-tracking India's infrastructure. What all has been brought about by GATI Shakti with respect to what was existing earlier, and how GATI Shakti approaches a particular planning, how it is being used as a planning tool, is what I'm going to share with you today. So let us start. So very quickly, what is infrastructure? It is a backbone for economic growth. Without infrastructure, be it pertaining to power generation, be it pertaining to connectivity, be it corresponding to rail, be it pertaining to ports, or be it to airports, whatever it is, the backbone for economic growth depends on the extent of infrastructure which exists in that country. And when you have infrastructure fully set up in the country, it should permit manufacture, it should permit logistic competitiveness. We'll talk more about what is logistic competitiveness and social connectivity. People should be able to freely, easily move from one part of your country to another part without difficulties or without having to change many flights, many trains, and even if they have to do it, how comfortable it is. Whether it is for transporting goods from the factory to the port, you should be able to done with that amount of speed and efficiency. So infrastructure is required for manufacture, logistics, and social requirements. Now, there are many types of infrastructure. So I'll just highlight that. First is economic infrastructure. What is required for movement of goods, movement of people from one place to another, essentially pertains to economic infrastructure. You have social infrastructure, schools, hospitals, other facilities which are required for education, etc. Technology infrastructure, you require R&D labs, you require infrastructure for techno parks, you require infrastructure for higher education. All this come under technology infrastructure. You require energy infrastructure. It can be nuclear power plant, it can be, of course, thermal power plant is not in demand now, but it can be a thermal power plant. It can be based on natural gas. It can be based on hydropower. So all these are energy infrastructure. Port infrastructure. Port infrastructure is important for the movement of goods coming into India, for your imports, as well as for your exports. And India being a peninsular country into Indian Ocean, you have huge coastline. So ports are very, very critical. We are not very well connected by road, but by through sea, we can easily get connected. And most of our exports and imports go by sea. IT infrastructure, this has become very dominant these days, in the last 15 years, 20 years, whereby which you are able to have connectivity to other countries, be it through satellites, be it through undersea cables, be it through landlines within the country, or fiber optic cables. You have data centers in the country where all the data is stored. So IT infrastructure is very, very crucial the present day, because a large amount of economic activities, financial activities take place over the digital network. And of course, there's road infrastructure, railways, waterways, etc. Of course, waterways are not developed so well in India, even though there is potential. But that needs to be also focused upon in our infrastructure. So these are the types of infrastructure. We can perhaps list one or two more, but I'm broadly covering the type of infrastructure which we have recently given focus upon. So let us see, what do you consider when you want to create infrastructure? When you want to create infrastructure, what all you look at? The first aspect which you look at is who's the owner and who's the user. It may be government owned, used by a private company which have given authority to them to use it. It can be private owner with a private user, right? So the requirement of the owner is what? He's going to put money, he's going to facilitate some, let's say it's an R&D lab, he's going to facilitate research and development, and users could be startups who will come there and utilize it. So the requirements of owner and the requirements of user have to be very clearly understood when you plan your infrastructure. If it is a port, obviously, the owner is invariably likely to be the government, or it can be public-private partnership, and the users will be the various shipping lines. And then you look into the cost-benefit aspect. So much money you are putting, what is the return which you will get from this? Is it worth it? Or it has to be done, even if the returns are not immediately very good. Later it will grow. So you study a cost benefit aspect for a fairly long term, short term as well as long. Then you always look at the first mile connectivity. How will people reach this place? How will goods reach this place? Whatever is going to be the facility there, how this will happen? Is it well connected by road, rail, water, etc.? Last mile, whatever is the output of that facility, how it will go out? Will it be easy for them to send across to a port, send across to a railway yard, or will they have a container yard? All these aspects need to be done for first mile and last mile. Let us say you're setting up a campus, an engineering college and campus. First mile connectivity and last mile also comes out there as well, because so many people have come to the college, and how will get connected to the various nearby areas? How much can the hostel support, and how much the college will support people who are not staying in hostel? How will be the connectivities? All these aspects need to be considered when you set up an infrastructure. It should be environment friendly, naturally. If you're going to set up an infrastructure which is going to release toxic fumes or acidic effluents into water, or will it have some sort of waste material which may be radioactive, or which can harm the soil condition? So all these aspects one has to examine when you set up an infrastructure. And there should be a versatile organization to create the infrastructure. Okay, you decided your infrastructure will have following things. Somebody has to be trusted to create it in as short a time as possible and as reliable a facility as possible. So these are the aspects which you consider. Now, how has India been doing it? Let's take from a lot of good infrastructure which has been created in India before independence. You look at the railways. The British had done it in a very good way. You look at the waterways. There's a waterway from Visakhapatnam to Chennai, which is not operational now, but the British had done the canal, Buckingham Canal, all the way from Visakhapatnam to Chennai, if you look at the map of the East Coast. So during the British time, a lot of focus has been given on infrastructure, be it for rail, be it for waterways, and even for road to a certain extent. Of course, vehicles were not in that many number, road traffic or transportation by road was not so popular. It's more by train. But I'm going to consider today only from Independence Day onwards, from 1947 onwards, how we have been addressing this issue of infrastructure development. So when you look at India's infrastructure development, during the last 75 years, the procedures which we followed have gone through immense changes. Transformative changes have happened in the last 75 years. But to understand it in a simpler manner, I will divide the 75 years to phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Phase 1 is till 1990s. Till 1990, how we're managing. Then for the next 25 odd years, how did we do? And how we are doing now from 2021. So these three phases, I will look at it. So let us look at phase 1. In phase 1, the planning and execution was by the parent ministry. So if you are looking at, let us say, an energy plant, a thermal power plant has to be created, it is always done by Ministry of Power, along with the associated stakeholders and all the exchange, the project progress, the project update, and even the various clarifications, etc., given were largely through postal correspondence. Physical models were made, which explained what is going to be created. People used to go to the site and take meetings. So technology of those days, I'm talking of before mid-90s, did not permit fast interaction between the project site management and the main ministry which was running it. It had its own inertia, not because of the people who were there at inertia, but the system did not permit to be executed fast. And this disadvantage often led to delays in execution of projects because you are seeking a clarification. It could be design related. Very often for design, you are approaching a foreign consultant. You write to him, his reply comes. He said, I will come visit the place and then clarify. So delays kept on accumulating in this era of infrastructure. And therefore, there was time overrun. And when you have time overrun, automatically you'll have cost overrun. And as I told you, design talent was also limited in the country in most of the sectors. So you find that we had to take help from foreign countries or foreign nationals, or foreign laboratories, etc., to help us with the infrastructure design. So in this phase 1, we were having a centralized way of control, but the control was subject to a lot of delays because of technology was not really supporting speedy exchange of information, clarifications, and therefore largely it does depend upon visits of people to come all the way to the site and then give clarifications. So let us look at phase 2, that is between 1995 and 2021. During 1925 to 2021, there was a change. The government formed a new department called PPIT. They said for promotion of industry, and because industry is going to promote manufacture mostly, there will be new goods, then internal trade will also flourish. they created a department for promotion of industry and internal trade, which looked at, let's say, we were importing a particular commodity from abroad. And that we want, let's say it's a medicine which we are importing. And we want to look at how we can make this medicine in the country. Obviously, we'll study whether raw materials are available, facilities available, any new technology required, and then say, okay, we will create a facility in India, whether it's a public facility in a PSU or a private facility jointly. Those days, joint public-private was not there much, and then or give some loan to a private company to create a facility. So this DPIIT used to form clusters of various various groups, be it for power generation, be it for pharmaceuticals, be it for agriculture, be it for electronics, etc. And they examined whether any new technologies were emerging and how they can have a balance between industry and trade. If your industries are going to make goods, they have to get sold, either exported or domestic. So they also used to assess, is there a demand for this item? Should we make it? And then if you make it, how will you be consuming it within the country or exporting? Along with that, they also look at what quality level of production will take place so that the goods which are coming out are meeting export standard and also creating a demand within the country. So this department had a very crucial role to play. They are still there. They are playing a very good role. Only thing is their scope of interaction is enhanced since 1995. Now they also cover logistics sector. They cover up startups. They've gone into e-commerce. What are the requirements for e-commerce? How we should encourage e-commerce, be it by Amazon or Flipkart. All these come under DPIIT. Should we create EEZ, whether it's a techno park for software? Should we have EEZ, foreign direct investments? What are the patents we'll have in the country? What are the trademarks which can be permitted? Any legal issues on that? They will make sure that they are giving the correct guidance. Copyrights, Make in India program, how to set up industry corridor so that in that particular belt, you can have a better connectivity, better infrastructure by way of power, by way of road, by rail, etc. And even on intellectual proprietary rights. So DPIIT, which was started essentially as a coordinating department in 1995, by 2020, and even now they are existing, they cover a vast range of issues pertaining to quality, pertaining to copyrights, patents, setting up facilities, including industrial corridor, EEZ, etc., and at the same time, fostering startups. In spite of all this, we have many examples where projects got delayed for some reason or other. It can be due to some natural disasters. It can be due to some issues regarding arbitration, or it is something to do with lack of finance. It can be any one of this. So I'm going to give one example, which many of you will understand very easily. So I'm going to take Vinium Port as an example. Now this Vinium Port, for which are the sketches there, which has already started functioning from last year onwards. Its project report is prepared in 2013 and work commenced in 2015. About 20,000 crores are going to be invested in this. At the moment, there are only 11,000 or 11,500 crores have been invested. But some more investment is going to come between Kerala government and the contractor Adani, which they will set up a full-fledged port, which is supposed to be set up in 4 phases. Phase 1 is over, and therefore the functioning has started. But they will complete 2, 3, 4, and they will create a Vinium International Seaport. which will be owned by Kerala government, but operated by Adani. And this model is called landlord model. So Kerala government, which would have invested around very close to around 9,500 crores at that time, will allow Adani Port to operate in this port, and this gain profit which he will make will be a portion will be given to state government from some inwards, and that will be the inflow for the state government. So this is the contract which has been finalized, and the work is progressing in that. While we set up the port, two important things came to notice. The road connectivity to the port was missed out, and the rail connectivity of the port has not got ready. Now it is expected by 2028. So for 4 years, because the port started in 24, till 2028, road and rail connectivity will be poor. There will be some small road, but road which can take the type of incoming cargo as well as various goods which will come for export, will find difficult to handle the scale of goods which are to move. So the efficiency of the port will be lower than what it was planned. Therefore, the port will also make less profit, less money will come to government, which means public money. And this unfortunately has happened. Why I'm highlighting this issue is important things like last mile connectivity or first mile connectivity, in case of Vinium Port, got overlooked for some reason. We can go into details during question and answer session. But it is impinged upon efficient functioning of the port, which was expected to take away a lot of business from Colombo, Dubai, and even Singapore, because Vinium is very close to the international shipping lane. Now, that is going to take some time to happen because of this handicap which we have. But what I want to highlight is, how was this project monitored? What model was followed? How did they miss out this issue? Maybe it came to public notice very late, but the fact is, many other things got finalized without taking first mile and last mile connectivity. Some other road got built, but that road was very far away from the port. The railway line, which has to get connected to this, has to be a tunnel to come to the port. So there are many issues pertaining to rail connectivity and road connectivity. And this is an example of how a infrastructure project, which was very well conceived and much talked about, finally resulted in a suboptimal efficient infrastructure. It is still not there. It will take another 4 years more. We'll discuss more during Q&A. So now I come to the last phase, phase 3, which is started on 15th of August, 2021. The Prime Minister announced GATI Shakti on 15th of August during his Independence Day speech, saying we are going to have a new digital portal which will enable our infrastructure to be planned and executed well. The cabinet approved it in 21 October, a few months later. And this GATI Shakti portal was expected to give seamless and efficient connectivity for movement of people, goods, and services. How that will happen, I will explain as we go along. It minimized duplication in new infrastructure. At the same time, existing ones are not blocked. So they found ways and means of augmenting existing facilities. At the same time, anything which has been built, we didn't duplicate it so that there is a high utilization of whatever money you're putting in. Logistics sector will be specifically addressed because that is critical to exports. And digital technologies will be used for planning and execution of the projects. So Gati Shakti was, a digital portal was created with these aims. And most important being, it will enable you to plan your infrastructure to great detail, and you will use the digital technologies for planning, execution, and monitoring. So let us look at what is this Gati Shakti portal. It's a comprehensive portal integrating all data. All data. I will explain to you what all data is. Data for every project pertain to following. I've listed a few, not all, but let me say a few important ones. All the geographical features which were relevant for the infrastructure, maybe the particular route or maybe the adjacent areas, maybe the alternative options which were there, all got highlighted through geographical features which gave the entire layout in latitude, longitude, rivers, and also it talked about how we will be able to mobilize our infrastructure. It also gave the boundaries of state and district. They are very critical because state boundaries meant an area where a particular authority had or the various activities in that, and it went into another state. So that is also required to be addressed as far as the project finance is concerned. How much the money will get invested if it is going to be jointly between state and center. And you're also aware, in the last two budgets, the government has given a lot of money, not given, earmarked a lot of money for states to take for infrastructure, but they should execute it within so many years. The money is available. If you want, you can take it. It's without interest. This is to basically encourage states to undertake infrastructure projects. But one of the conditions is make sure that you utilize a planning tool which is in Gati Shakti. The data also talks about population. Along the route of the road, what is the population intensity? What is the income pattern which is there of people? Is it a basically agricultural land on either side? Is it agricultural labor? Or is it urban side where there are a lot many schools, colleges, industries, and other educational centers, healthcare centers, etc. So what is the type of population and what is their income pattern? It will tell you how much forest coverage is there in that particular area. What is the soil condition? Is it subject to any sort of erosion which can take place from river? What is the weather data? Is it having too much of rain or very little rain? What is the satellite imagery of that place over the years? How it has changed? What are the aerial photographs which have been taken? Drone pictures. All these are data. So every project, let us say you're going to start a medical college in a particular area. So when you want to start a medical college, maybe with a medical college hospital also, then all these details are available to you in the form of data, satellite imagery, aerial photos, drone pictures. What is the location of post offices in that area, hospitals, schools, hostels, tourist spots. All these are available in the map. And they are not in one map. They are different maps. There's one map for population density, another map for satellite imagery, third one for aerial photo, fourth one on drone pictures, but they can be superimposed on one another. I'll show you an example. And what are the natural disasters which have taken place before, and what are the management centers for disaster. So various types of data are collected, and this data is collected in geo information, geographical information as it exists on Earth, latitude, longitude. It is seen with respect to latitude, longitude, and maps are prepared in layers of layers. I'll show you. So you have a map. I'm just giving a 4-layer map. This is the map of a street in a particular village. This is the road which goes. And these are the buildings which are there. And this is the vegetation which is there. And when you combine all these 3 maps, you will get this. So it is possible for planners to seek the various data available which they think is relevant to that particular project, and then say, show this map, superimpose on this, show the next map. So they are able to visualize all the computer screen, huge computer screens, the entire layout completely in different data packages. You're seeing it separately and also integrated. So you're able to appreciate what is the exact impact on the ground. So these maps are dynamic maps. They are interactive. You can ask questions to the map regarding, let us say, vegetation. How much the forest cover in this area? How many trees will have to be cut if I have to set up the medical college and the hospital here? The computer will straight away say, in this area, you will have to remove so many trees. Immediately the answer will come from the map. They're interactive. So these maps are prepared in GIS, Geo Information System. As I told you earlier, Geographical Information System, latitude, longitude, all aspects are referred to latitude and longitude as it exists on Earth's surface. These have been captured either through satellite or through drone or through aerial photography or from existing maps. And then you have everything available at the click of a button on your computer. So you're able to check it and verify it, and you're able to decide a layout of the infrastructure much faster than when you do with only maps which are on paper. So you're able to do a better layout, you're able to give more efficiency, you're able to talk about better management of solar energy or ventilation, as well as lighting inside the building. Should we go for a green building or not? All these things you're able to finalize and look at what is the first mile, what is the last mile connectivity, and you're able to make that plan more realistic and more appropriate the needs of the user and the owner, which I told you at the beginning. These are 2 important figures in every infrastructure, user and owner. We're able to meet their requirements. We are able to look at how, let us say you are looking at a stadium. So how much of area will be covered, how much will be the seating, how much will be the parking area. We have seen so many stadiums built in the country. And when it comes to parking, we always have suffered. You take any example. So you look at if the seating is going to be so much, how will be the parking? How will be the entry? How will be the exit of people, including during an emergency if there is some aspect where evacuation is required? What will be the arrangement for entry for players safely and separately? So you look into all this aspect when you finalize a huge stadium. And then you look at how it will be protected during rain and how it will be protected during from the sun, etc. So I'm just giving an example how different type of maps if you're in the deciding team, you can show me the map, how the temperatures are in this place during summer. The map will come with color, different colors. If it is red, it means very hot. If it is pinkish, it is less heat, etc. The map will tell you how the temperature is during summer, show during winter, show how much is the rainfall, show how much is the layout of the roads. And one has to see GIS maps where you can superimpose one on another. Important aspect is the symbology has been kept the same in all the maps. That means if you are depicting road, it'll be a particular color. If the road is 4-lane, it will have a particular indication. If it is 6-lane, it'll have another indication. The color and the symbols used will be same throughout all the maps so that the viewer doesn't get confused. And now I'll tell you how many layers of maps are there. I've shown you 1, 2, 3 and integrated. And 1,685 data layers have been created with the help of various ministries, with the help of various institutions, with the help of ISRO, with the help of defense for aerial photography, so many institutions. 1,685 data layers have been created in GATI Shakti, out of which 950 odd has come from central government, and 720 odd has come from central government, and 950 has come from state governments and union territories. See, state governments had a lot of information on regular maps, which are on paper. They may have got scanned, but now they have been brought into a common symbology, common GIS, and uploaded on GATI Shakti. So when you are looking at a particular site within India, which data has come from state, it's already there in the memory, data which has come from central government, from various ministries of government, you're able to create a very holistic picture from all the data. All 1,600 may not be required for one project. For one project, some 50, 60 will be required. For some other project, if you're looking at a new airport, then you will be asking for show me the wind pattern during summer and during winter or during monsoon. There'll be another map which you may not consider for planning, let us say, a school or a hospital. May consider, may not consider. So 1,685 data layers have been created as of now. This is a Parliament reply in December 24. Very sure reply in December 24. Very sure the answer is extremely accurate. It could be more now, but since December 24, some more data layers would have been created. Now, sorry, I need to go back here. Now I come to, with all this requirement which has come from various data layers, you got a good idea of the spatial requirement of the project, vis-a-vis what is available. And this is, you're able to visualize the project in the GIS domain. You may have 2, 3 options. We'll have the hospital like this, with extension like this, or somebody may say hospital like this, extension in the south direction, somebody may say west direction. So you select which is the best solution. All this is the planning stage. And once you have selected, then you evolve the timelines of the project. Yes, we will take 3 years to build it, 5 years to build it, along with cost aspects, of course. And once you have finalized the project and decided and sanctioned it along with so much of cost, then you're able to monitor the progress by the various changes which are happening in the data layers. Satellite imagery will tell you the changes. Aerial photograph will tell you the changes. Drone photographs will tell you the changes. So all these are integrated. So sitting in the main office of the ministry, be it state government or central government, you are able to look at how the project is progressing, right? I wish this was in place when Vinium was done. It was not a part of GATI Shakti project portal. Someone perhaps decided to road and rail connectivity can come a little later. So in GATI Shakti, what is the approval? First, there is a network planning group which decides upon how the project has to come, what is the location, what are the various data layers considered, and then they will look at the various options available, and then they may come down to one or two options. There's a technical support team which gives the various information regarding the projects and see whether it is complete, meeting the owner and user requirement. Is there any gap? The technical specifications, etc., are looked at by the technical support group. And finally, when the options have been decided and the technical validation has been completed by two different groups, the empowered group of secretaries gives the approval and they issue the sanction saying, okay, 2,000 crores for this project, which will be as per this solution, as per this layout, which is on GATI Shakti project. So GATI Shakti in the last 2.5 years have been examining many projects, be it for road, rail, even creating facilities of hospitals, etc. We'll see some of them now. But before that, who made GATI Shakti portal? Very important. There is a public sector unit called BISAG-N, which comes under Ministry of IT and Electronics. They made this digital portal. Now, this portal was made by BISAG. This stands for Bhaskara Acharya Institute for Space Applications and Geoinformatics. It's in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. They were really earlier a part of ISRO or working very close with ISRO to analyze pictures which are coming as from satellite imagery. Satellite imagery pictures or images were being sent to Bhaskara Acharya Institute for analyzing what are the structures on the ground, especially on the border areas, whether any new structure has come, what is or how an existing structure was coming up, which we are creating elsewhere. Then subsequently, this institute was tasked with doing GIS information for infrastructure planning in the country. It functions under the Ministry of Electronics and IT. As I told you, it was part of Remote Sensing Center, and it was renamed with exclusive studies for geoinformation, and it develops the data layers. Those 1,600 odd data layers have been generated by BISAG in consultation with the users, how they want to see the picture, what resolution they want, what dynamic facility they want to zoom in, zoom out, color coding if they want. Symbology, of course, is fixed by, centrally fixed by BISAG. So they have done this fantastic job in the last 2.5, 3 years. But remember, this name has been created by a public sector company called BISAG. So let us look at the output which has been done. Over 200 odd, 220 odd projects have been done by GATI Shakti, corresponding to about nearly 16 lakh crores of rupees. In addition, they are doing 400 rail projects now, which is under examination. They have made projects for nearly 9,000 kilometers of road and 27,000 kilometers of railway line, which they have already completed. When they complete means they have finished finalizing the project, projects have got sanctioned and is under execution. Underground pipes for sending crude oil You know, crude oil comes by ships to India. Sometimes it goes directly to refinery, like it happens in Jamnagar, like it happens in Cochin, like it happens in uh, Bombay, etc. But there are refineries in other parts of India where the crude has to go by pipelines, underground pipelines, or by trucks. But how to lay the underground pipes, what route to follow? 66% of the oil pipelines which have been recently planned have been done through Gati Shakti, and almost all natural gas pipelines. You have seen natural gas pipelines being laid in Cochin between terminal in Udyoga Mandal, as well as where the gas depressurization plant is, and that all the layout of the pipes, underground pipes, have been done by through Gati Shakti. Look at the advantage. We have seen in many cases, especially in case of BSNL, fiber optic cables get cut when road development, they dig something, they want to make some cut across the road, they break a fiber optic line because it was laid, it never got absorbed into the digital drawings, which somebody else could refer and decide upon. It perhaps remained in paper drawing, which was in a cupboard in BSNL office. And BSNL had to be called to clear the layout, which will take more time, delay the finalization of project. Now, once it has got into digital domain, it became easy for many of the underground infrastructure, gas pipeline, oil pipeline, fiber optic cable, all this to be planned with the help of digital domain, preferably with GI information, preferably through Gati Shakti. 13 kilowatt of green energy which has come from Leh to Haryana, because it's a mountainous region, how they will have this transmission line running from that hill to this side and through the valley, that it will come to Haryana finally, was finalized using the 3D maps available in Gati Shakti. Disaster management for Amona River in Goa has been finalized based on this. I'm giving a few examples. New schools in Uttar Pradesh, location has been decided by Gati Shakti, because I told you earlier, you have a data layer called population density. So you know how much of population stays in which all places in the district, what is the intensity, and based on that you can decide upon the school location so that first mile connectivity is most favorable to the user, that is the general public. There's a coastal corridor which has been created in Gujarat for speedy movement of trucks and goods. This has been planned using Gati Shakti. New healthcare facilities in internet shadow regions have been created. Now, this has been a new problem, because for PM's Ayushman Bharat service, one of the facilities available to the citizen was he could do video conferencing from the village to the doctor, which could be in the nearest town or nearest big hospitals, which the health center, the village health center would arrange for that video conferencing. Now, that video conferencing, of course, required internet connectivity. So there used to be very shadow regions in Indian internet in many of the rural areas, which is one of the data layers. The location of 4G towers of BSNL and 5G towers of Jio, BSNL, etc., have been finalized through Gati Shakti. So you have a requirement of internet shadow to be assessed, then it's possible for you to use the Gati Shakti data layer of how good is the internet coverage in India. Is it good? Which are the weak areas? Which are the shadow areas? Why there's a shadow? There could be a tower here, there could be a hill here. So on the other side, you're not able to get line-to-line connectivity or point-to-point connectivity. So they were able to identify the location of various towers of BSNL. You must have read somewhere recently that BSNL is going for a huge expansion in making 4G so popular in India, especially in the rural side, by going for towers. Of course, now most of the towers are manufactured in India. Earlier, they used to be tower equipment used to be imported, and they are able to identify and locate the towers in such a way that internet dark spots are minimized or shadow regions are minimized. Similarly, container traffic in many ports have been streamlined. I told you 4G saturation in 50,000 villages of India, they have been able to decide on the tower for 4G. BSNL has been able to decide. And most important, the country has got about nearly 14 lakh Anganwadis. All the location of Anganwadis are mapped in as one data layer. Very important for primary health center to be located. You look at Anganwadi centers, and we are able to decide the location considering the distances are minimal. This is one of the projects which have been cleared by GATI Shakti in the last 2.5 to 3 years. So GATI Shakti has been actually a fusion of technology and governance. Good governance means you should be able to make sure the services reaches a citizen efficiently and effectively. Now, if you're able to use technology in making sure you plan the infrastructure well, execute it speedily, and you're able to deliver the service to the citizen, then you're taking the benefit of technology and made sure the governance is good. So GATI Shakti has been able to fuse technology and governance through all these data portals, which I talked about. And some of the future projects of GATI Shakti are, they want to make GATI Shakti district-wise. Till now, it has been only state-wise. Kerala state, what all projects will come. Now they are planning to go to district-wise projects because when they found they're working with state, and then the state was expected to further sensitize the districts for the various aspects. Now they found if it is district-wise, then the user who's in the district gets involved with the project better. So this is planned to be done. It is already started with 27 aspirational districts, and I'm sure you know what is an aspirational district. Otherwise, I'll answer in Q&A. It started from December 24. 27 districts, they're already doing a trial run. How it will be for GATI Shakti if the districts are also made as a node able to interact in a particular project. One of the aims of GATI Shakti has been to reduce logistic cost. Today in India, logistic cost is 12 to 13%. That means a goods worth 1 crore moving from one place to another. Let's say it's going for export. 13% of the cost, that means 13 lakhs, gets spent on logistics. It could be hiring of trucks. It is the number of days the truck takes to reach. You know, the trucks take less time now after we brought GST. There are no check posts, no octroi posts, etc. They're able to move faster. But still, when they come to the port, they are in a traffic jam. Okay, you're waited in the traffic jam for half a day. You entered the port. Once you enter the port, the container should be emptied. The truck should be emptied of the container by cranes before putting it on the ship. Now there is another queue. And once it is emptied, Another container should be put on the truck so that it comes with a container, unloaded, goes out with another container, which is meant for somewhere else. So which container will go on which truck, and which truck should come ahead in the queue. All these are computerized in many ports. In India also, it has started in 2-3 ports. The crane operation is going to be controlled by computer in association with ships unloading pattern. So when this is what's going to happen in a great extent in Vinium, a ship comes to, let's say, with 100 containers, and those 100 containers had to be unloaded. And all those containers had to be unloaded, some are it's a transshipment port. So you understand that. Some are going to Singapore, 20 for Singapore, 20 for, let us say, Malaysia, 20 for Indonesia, something else, Japan. So when they unload, they put it in a cluster in the container yard so that when the ship comes for taking to Singapore, those 20 are easily picked up and put on the ship. So this planning is done between arrival of the ship, its container destinations, what is the way they have to be identified, where they'll be put in different places, and how a ship which is coming subsequently to go to Japan will take the containers to Japan. Very fascinating software, and that is combined with the crane operation. So cranes quickly unload and load. This is what is happening in major ports in the world. In India, I think it has started in Bombay. Now it's going to come to Vinium. Chennai, it has not yet come. I'm not sure about Paradeep. But the two new ports which are going to come in India the next 5-10 years will have the most advanced software. Today, it takes 28 hours for a ship to unload or load in India. Much more than what it takes in Dubai or Singapore, etc., where they finish in half the time. So if you can reduce the time of unloading in the port, your logistic costs will come down further. Our aim is to reduce the time, reduce the logistic cost, improve our ranking. We already come to 38. We are looking at coming to 25 by 2030. There are 24 other countries which are better than us in handling logistics. It can be road rail connectivity, it can be port, how they handle traffic, how you clear the containers by customs. Customs also an important part of this logistic cost. Okay. Now, another important decision which has happened, but how it's going to get streamlined is the right of way for telecom infrastructure has been cleared by the government. That means if you have a telecom infrastructure, you have a tower, you have a fiber optic cable which is running, that land under which the fiber optic cable is run, the right of way is only with the telecom department and no other department. The earlier incidents of where somebody else came and cut the road and cut the fiber optic cable should not happen, because with Gati Shakti, very clear maps have been made and only telecom department can clear it, and nobody can sort of violate and create disruption to service to the citizens. Both Sri Lanka and Nepal have evinced interest in Gati Shakti. They are familiarizing with the system and what will happen, whether we will give it, in what all measures, how they will help us, etc. We'll have to see by a future date. Now, I come to the end of it. My conclusions. Infrastructure is a bedrock for economic growth. Naturally, it has to be planned holistically and executed efficiently on time. What Indian government has done, it's blended its administrative procedure with digital technology for creating Gati Shakti Portal, which plans infrastructure, be it for healthcare, be it for education, be it for road, be it for rail, be it for energy, be it for underground pipes, be it for fiber optic cables, all these things, everything which is located in India on the earth is decided with the help of this portal, which makes it a complete study, near complete study. It has already got more than 1,600 data layers, which I have already told you. State governments and central governments are already using it. Now districts may also get into it. Trials are going on. 228 projects have been already assessed, nearly 16 lakh crores. Recent expansion in social sector for schools, hospitals, and Anganwadis has been much welcomed by state governments. Sectors like Ministry of Petroleum and Renewable Energy have planned their long distance underground pipes and overhead transmission lines using GATI Shakti. Gaps have been plugged in the infrastructure to reduce logistic costs, which was 54 in 2014. It came down to 44 in 2018. Now we are at 38. We are looking at coming by 25 by 2030. With India's GDP target going to $7 trillion by 2030, and I'm very sure it will be achieved even much before that, GATI Shakti would have played a very, very crucial role, enabling role in creating cost-effective, speedy infrastructure for the country. And as I told you earlier, infrastructure is the bedrock for economic growth. With this, I conclude my lecture. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Jai Hind.